felt safe outside. They masked inside, so it was just a little crazy at times. But then we had the grandkids here for a couple of days, and my sister, and yeah. There you go. I do have to say though, my back started bothering me yesterday, so I'm going to be pretty careful today. I'll go to the chiropractor. And I have to get off at 10. I have a big grant proposal due at 5:30, and I'm quite worried about this big storm that's coming. They keep saying you might lose your electricity, and I can't send in a grant application by email if I have no Wi-Fi. Anyway, so I'm a little anxious about that. It's I need that $15,000. So, or the organization does. So
yeah.
Anyway, so I do feel like between my back and that, I didn't want to miss today, but I can only give it an hour. So.
Well, here comes Adam in the door.
Hey.
Oh, in the door, the literal door.
Literally.
Hey guys.
Hey, Adam.
Hi, Adam.
Adam, it was 2 minutes.
What?
It was 2 minutes.
Yes, he meant literally 2 minutes.
Sorry about that. Just a little behind.
You run into a storm.
They got that construction going around.
Oh yeah,
At the bridge.
oh yeah. Lots of luck. Okay, we should get underway.
Yep.
Mhm. Good. Where are you with movement 3?
I think it's getting better.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I think it's getting better and a little more energetic. It's still challenging though.
Yep.
Mhm.
It will remain a challenge for a while.
I'm sure.
At least based on my own experience. Anyone have a particular question or experience with that?
No, not really.
Okay.
No, I think that, the lesson, we know the lesson is to have a lot of lesson, right? To really be able to practice. And I haven't been this past week because I knew that would happen with a house full of people. But I'm just looking forward to a little easier month ahead with being able to do it, because I think that it's like these aha moments, these pulling it together, but then that's the intellectual part of it. Now we have to get the physical part of it. It doesn't kind of work if it's not together, as we know.
Yep.
So I did practice a little this week, but just enough to want to practice more.
Good. Well, this week probably even managing a little practice was pretty good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Anything for you, Bill?
Yeah, I managed a little practice, although I think I did do something every day, so that was good. But
Good.
3 in particular, it's like going into a new room of your house or something, and that you didn't know was there. That's a terrible analogy, but
It'll do.
it's a new experience versus what I'm now referring to as the old 3. Every lesson or every time there's some little thing or little stretch, but for me that was to take further into pieces of the practice, but for 3 it's been a total sort of reboot and
Yep.
to a new thing.
It really expands 3.
Yeah.
Just it was a stage for me, which, as you said, an aha moment. So
I don't know whether I have an aha yet, but I have a lot of new things to to try to I'd say it's more of an oh my experience than an aha experience.
okay. So for those of you that can, I'd like you to do a short flow this morning, just to kind of check in and see where we are. So I'm going to suggest that you do just 6 repetitions, so not very many. And I realize that it may not be enough to really be comfortable with every posture, but may help me just to kind of see where you are. Okay. That was actually quite nice. I definitely see improvement. Just a couple of things. In one of the things that I also struggled a little bit with early on, but is finding that gradual extension as the arms come up. So what I'm seeing is that in some cases, some of you are doing this. The arms are already extended when they start coming up. And what you really want to try to do is have that extension be a continuous piece all the way through that movement. So that would be a thing to check. Everybody seems very comfortable with 2, I must say. And 3, I see you all working on it. I think the only thing I wanted to mention in 3 is for Bill Nagel. I did notice that pretty consistently, when you got to the side here and you extended, your body went back. And it was probably pretty subtle most of the time, but that's not a backward movement. Of course, as you get over to this point, this is out and in and out, there's no backward movement at all when you extend to 6 and 9.
David, while you're right there, could you talk about the transition from 2 to 3? That was a real awkward moment that I hadn't been aware of being awkward before for me, particularly where the spine is and how far up you are, you know, because that point right there.
Sure. So, yeah, that's a little tricky, and actually, I think one of the things is to recognize that you have to have a breath adjustment in there, as it were. So, you're exhaling, you're inhaling down, get there, David, and you're exhaling coming up to here. And then you're going to inhale as you go to 3 and exhale as you go out. So when you come up, you bent, you're beginning to extend a little here because that's the completion of 2. And then you're going to actually come in, it's very subtle, and then out. So
So you don't complete that extension, which you would do if you were just, you know, going through 2 from 2 to 2.
You don't complete it because the completion is here.
Yeah, but even the, yeah, okay. Well, that's a good point too, right there. Okay.
So yeah, when you get to here, you're only half extended.
Okay.
It's not as if you have gone to a full extension.
No. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Sure. Be careful on, well, all the ones where you have the elbows on the side channels and the hands here. When you have those movements, you really have to feel the back releasing so that you don't end up here, but you're here with the hands. So when you arrive at the point where you can bring the elbows in, don't let the hands also come in. So it's almost as you go into really any of those movements. How about 4? You come up, the elbows are in, the forearms are parallel. They're not hands in the middle and elbows on the sideline. They're parallel. And you almost immediately have to start spreading the elbows, but you want to keep the hands on the sideline as you're going down. 5 looked pretty good. That's, I think one of the things I'd say about 5 is to keep trying to feel where those transition points are for you. Because by the time you get to 5, ideally you have developed the energetic flow to the point where you can feel as you're doing it, whether the energy's at the head here, or whether it's at the head here, or even whether it's at the head here. And when does it get to the feet? Here, here, here. You have to feel that. Because those transition points are not rigid in the sense of there is a physical point where you have to meet, No, you have to feel where those are. It's clearer physically in 6, but also it can vary there too. So by the time you get to 5, long before you get to 5, but certainly by the time you get to 5, you really want to be feeling where those transition points are. I saw definite improvement in keeping the bending constant through the appropriate part of the movement and the extending through its part. Still certainly some work you can do on that, but basically that was pretty good. So anybody have any other questions or thoughts there at the moment?
I have one question, David, about number 1.
Sure.
In terms of when we come back down, how far to the side our hands go?
They don't have to go very far.
They don't, okay.
That's a good point, because here, I'll get a little closer. Because you can start making that too big.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't really, all you need is a little curve. You need to round the corner.
Okay.
So when you come down here and you are going back up, that might be very small. It doesn't need to be large.
Yeah, thank you. I think I've been making them too large, but going more to the side. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, it's
No
not
need.
necessary energetically to go to the side. You're really just keeping the movement continuous and making the transition from the bend to the extend.
Okay.
Other questions?
No.
Okay. Okay. So, I'm going to talk a little more about energy and then, depending on how much time we have. So, everything that grows in one of 2 ways. It grows arithmetically or geometrically. And the same is also true for chi. So what is arithmetic? So you add the numbers up, 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. And geometric growth is that you add the last thing on and then you multiply. So it's 1 times 1.2, 1.3 times 1.5, and so on. And that over time, like the miracle of compound interest in finance, really means something. So the next thing we have to look at is we have indirect and direct chi circulation. Currently, we don't have reliable ways to measure exactly how much chi any given chi practice will generate. But at the moment and over time, we just don't have the instruments. So this said, each of the parts of your arms and legs has chi in it and can pass on the chi from the previous part to the next one and the next. And it can just keep on going. In the arms, this chain begins with the spine and ends at your fingertips. So let's consider these points. Geometric growth is faster than arithmetic growth. This is no less true in growing chi within the body and mind than it is in making money. The miracle of compound interest. In this sense, if you practice the movements of gods without connecting up the chi in different parts of your arms and legs, it's like each movement is ending up adding 2 plus 2, and that's arithmetic. But if you consciously join the chi of each individual part of your arm to the other, you get a multiplier effect. They're small, incremental bits, but when they're, but when added to the original number, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. And if you add those incremental points, they're going to reach the 3-point or 4 or 5-point, depending upon how long you do it. Back to practice. You get these compounding over time, every time you do it. But that's presuming that you're actually focusing on what will allow geometric growth to happen. So geometric growth will become multiple times significantly higher than arithmetic growth will. In chi, in finance, and anything that grows, it really doesn't much matter. You just have the fact that you want geometric growth to happen. The same is true within each individual one of the 16 Neigong. Only each Neigong component starts out at a much larger number and increases more like 0.5 rather than 0.1 for each segment of your arm. So the more Neigong pieces you add to the 6 movements of gods, the exponentially greater the benefit that will be to you. But with this said, let's look at the process of increasing chi in your arms, because you already know how to do the 6 movements of gods. The way we'll go forward is to first show you the principles involved, and then excuse me, at the end say what to do with each of the 6 individual movements. Now, chi is moved in gods in several ways, from beginning to advance. Beginning with physical movements only, there is no consideration of energy channels. The indirect method of using the acupuncture surfaces of your body, how is this different from points? And what is direct and indirect? What is direct is very simple. But when something is indirect, by working on a point at the elbow, it will do a bunch of different things, and that's indirect. But if you take what that point is supposed to do, and you actually move the chi along all the things that it is supposed to be doing, that's direct. It's not that it's one thing stops and then the next thing starts and then the next thing stops. So using the left, right, and central channel methods, we're going to activate and use the etheric body to access and develop the 8 energy bodies that connect beyond the earth all the relevant entities. Within them that pertain to the process of enlightenment within Taoist meditation. And this is what Gods does. Gods, when it really starts cooking, does everything that it does with the physical body, with all 8 of your energy bodies, or more realistically, all 7 of your energy bodies, because until a person reaches their own individual essence, they have no access to the Tao. They have no way of affecting the Tao. So in this installment, we will focus on the indirect method of qi circulation. And in sections 3 and 4 of the more advanced part of this training, we'll work on the direct methods of doing the same things. Now, if you make your mind travel through your body or any of your energy bodies, and you focus your intent on affecting qi in a certain way, that's indirect. You're not working directly with the qi itself. You're working with something that somehow is going to spark something to happen in the qi. When you have direct methods, your mind is going directly to the qi and directly moving the qi. The great difficulty in all of this is that it is one thing to say that your mind is going to go directly to your qi, and it's another thing to do it. So usually, in almost all Qigong methods, they go through a long preparation period of indirectly moving qi. And in many Qigong methods, that's all they do. They never even get to being able to directly move qi. But in classic Taoism, every classic Taoist method has the knowledge to directly move qi. But it is only happening, if it is only happening through visualization, you are not doing it. Now let us take this from another point of view. I'll take something that's not Taoist, but just to show that the same principle exists elsewhere. If you look at Tibetan Buddhism, when you first do Tibetan Buddhism, you visualize either a deity outside of yourself or you visualize it inside your own body. And then your mind has the idea and your intent has the idea that qi should move through this and that. That's indirect, and that's the preparation stage of Tibetan Buddhism. But then you go to the completion stage, and completion means you're actually going to do it. You can finish it. You have the ability to do the whole thing. And then you go through various sorts of energy practice, which they call salung, which is like preparatory, like pranayama or qigong. You then learn how to, and you get the ability to directly move qi through the body. And you do it with those same processes, and the results are like night and day. Because when you didn't move qi through the body, that is where, let's just say, you're on the distinct road toward the enlightenment path. And when you are indirectly moving qi through your body, you're on the direct road to preparing yourself for the enlightenment path. So preparing yourself to make $1 billion is not the same thing as getting the cash. So we'll be doing the direct circulations in the more advanced installments. It's a little too soon in the program to be doing that at this point. So the next stage that we're going to work on here is outer dissolving. So within Taoism, you're taught to dissolve the qi in every direction it could move in your body. Down, up, left to right, inside to out, and until eventually you can dissolve everything in your entire system at once from any point of contact with your mind. But why do we dissolve downward? And it's very simple. One thing is, we live in a heavy gravity field, and unfortunately, gravity goes downward on this earth. not as a thing itself, but as what it does on this earth. And you're dissolving downward because what the downward motion of qi does is that it releases the stuck energy, the crap that's in your energetic system that you can't use. It's like, why do you flush a toilet? You don't have to flush a toilet. You could let it build up. You don't have to go to a toilet to release what's inside you, but eventually all those toxins are going to cause problems. So you get rid of them. And the downward dissolving process is about getting rid of what you cannot process. The upward dissolving process is about building the innate potential that's inside of you. From a Taoist point of view, you could do something to boost everything inside your body. But if you are having so much poop building up in your intestines, your system doesn't have the ability to process any energy that you are taking in. As a matter of fact, it will probably cause your intestines to explode, which will not lead to a result anybody is really interested in. So the first thing is that the downward process is about getting rid of extraneous blocked qi inside you. Because when that qi becomes unblocked, it is then freed up to be useful. If you normally have access to 100,000 units of qi, but let's say 25,000 units are blocked, that means you only have access to 75,000 units. If you get rid of that blocked qi, you now have access to 100% of your qi. And so that is why the downward dissolving process is important. The second point is this. As a general principle, the downward dissolving process does not have any negative side effects. For example, when you bring energy up the body, like everything you see in every yoga textbook or in the fire school of Taoism, they show it like fire rising. And in Christianity, you have the angels flying up to take you to heaven. These are all just things about the upper current of energy. But the upward current of energy is a problem when it comes up and something is blocked. Very often it can't go through it. And that can blow you out and cause distortions in everything throughout your entire energetic field. And that's why if you look at every esoteric or any system that is based upon energetic movement, when you get the upward flow of energy being inappropriately done, people get sick, they get mentally crazy, they get disassociated from life, they start thinking they are walking with the angels and their feet aren't on the floor, and who knows what else. In the worst cases, it can lead to minor or major forms of insanity, especially if a person has those tendencies inside them to begin with. And people have all sorts of dormant mental issues that, as long as they're not really triggered, don't cause problems. But when they're triggered, oh boy, do they cause problems. And the downward dissolving methods are what make sure that these things do not get triggered accidentally. Now, what is the outer dissolving process? It is the hallmark technique of Lao Tzu's form of Taoism. First, on the basis of do no harm, this downward dissolving process will not do harm to anybody. The upward dissolving process, and some of them in and out, have the potential to cause harm. Anything that is good, if it is done in the wrong way, has the potential to cause harm. The downward process does not. And when the upward or some of the other methods go a little bit wacko, at the end of the day, it's usually the downward dissolving process can sort that out. So that's why we spend so much time on this over the years of our practice. Now, when it comes to clearing qi, your body has effectively two ways in which it can do it. You can clear blocked qi from inside your body, which is what the inner dissolving process does. Or you can take what is blocked inside your body and move it to the boundary of your etheric body and release it. Because the energy in your etheric body is constantly circulating between the inside of your body and the outside. So first, bring it to relaxation, and then allow it to dissolve to where it clears your body and goes to the boundary of your etheric body. When it hits the boundary of your etheric body, it is immediately rendered neutral. And that's just how the human energetic system works. It's rendered neutral, and then through the etheric body, it circulates around you to then come back into your body to become useful energy that you can use to do whatever needs to be done. This is because the etheric body is directly connected to the inside of your physical body. Now, there are two more points about this. The phrase that's been used for as long as, well, actually nobody knows in Taoism where it came from, is ice to water, water to gas. And that's liquid, solid, liquid, and gas. Gas is amorphous. Something that's relaxed within the body has some substance that can be noticed. But when it gets out into the etheric body, it's reached a subtle stage where gas is as good a description as anything else. There is gas. The air is gas. Nobody notices it, but it's there. As a matter of fact, increase the pressure of air and you can crush every bone in your body. But normally it's sea level, nobody notices it. But the air is most definitely there. So here in Gods, we're doing a very light training of this because it is taught more deeply in many other energy arts programs. But it is an important part of Gods and must be included. So you start dissolving from the crown of your head, or actually you could also start from the boundary of your etheric body above your head. And you let your mind go through, and now your mind is going to move through your body, and when it hits a blockage, it's going to stop. You know, it's like a diver going down into water, which will not obstruct them, but when they hit a ledge, they can't go any further. So if you hit that, how do you know that you've hit a blockage? Well, basically, there are 4 conditions, and if in any way, shape, manner, or form you encounter any of these, it means you've hit a blockage. Now, these are first, a feeling of strength. Normally, strength is a good thing, but really what this is talking about is the strength of the ego. Second is tension. 2 things fighting inside you, and that's a blockage from tension. A simple way of looking at this is you have a spasming blood vessel, it is in tension, and that's why it's called hypertension. The third one is the hard one. Sometimes something that doesn't feel quite right, especially if you don't know what it is. So now we're talking about what has often been called the demons of the unconscious mind. What is all the crap that's in your subconscious or unconscious mind? Well, those are blockages too, but you don't know what they are because most people don't have a really strong connection to their subconscious mind. So they can't look into it and sense what is happening. But it'll give off a feeling that can be recognized so that you will know that that is a blockage. The fourth one is any kind of contraction. And instead of what's inside you or your mind flowing free and easy, somehow it's contracted. Now, once you find one of these, it'll be in the point, and the blockage is ice, which simply means it is solidified. It's a solidified something or other. And then you put your mind, whatever your awareness is, and you put your attention on it, and with whatever intent you have, you try and relax it. And then if you relax it far enough, it'll go to water in the sense that it's fluid. It doesn't seem blocked. It's easy. Everything can move inside of it. You know, nowadays, all these relaxation techniques will give you the idea that if you get relaxed, it's over. Well, it's not. Because water can go back to ice. You haven't actually gotten rid of the source of why it's blocking. You just have a lessening of the experience of it. But it is water. Under the right conditions, it will just turn right back to ice on you. So now you have to go deeper, and you want to get that water that you feel deep inside of you to release until it goes right out to the boundary of your etheric body, until your etheric body absorbs whatever there is. And then it will turn back into the energy you can use inside yourself. So ice to water, water to gas. And that's the first thing. The second one is the second thing that's going to happen is that I need to show you something else. When you contact a blockage, you have one or two possibilities. You release it to gas into your etheric body and it's over. Or the second possibility is you can't release it out into your etheric body, so you're still left with it. The ice cube is still an ice cube. It has not turned into water, or even if it turns to water, it hasn't turned to gas, so that it's gone. So here's what you do. Let's just say the body is in layers. So we think of there just being several, actually innumerable numbers of layers throughout the body. And any slice of the onion, you can have a blockage anywhere along that layer. And what you do is that if you can't release everything at the original point of the blockage, with your mind, you transfer the energy of that blockage to the next blockage. And then you do the same thing, ice to water, water to gas. And if you get a resolution, it may also have released the previous blockage. And then you simply go down your body to the next place you have a blockage. If you don't get a resolution, however, and you go all the way around at that level, then what you do is that you have to go to the next place where you feel a blockage, and you let all the previous energy drop down and combine with it. And then you dissolve again and get both of them to resolve. So this is saying if you start going down and you discover you've got a blockage here, but you can't release it, then you want to go around at that same level, and you could go either way, and see if there is another blockage at that level and combine those and try to release them. If you don't have another blockage there, then you would go on down to the next level or to the next blockage that you feel. So understand something. Who knows how many layers you have inside you? And we're defining characteristic of the layer. The defining characteristic of the layer is that it has a blockage in it. No blockage, no harm, no problem has to be fixed. So you'll be dissolving downward. Whatever it is, wherever it is you feel the blockage, ice to water, water to gas. The object is to release it into the etheric body until finally everything becomes clear. When it becomes clear, then you continue down until you find the next blockage. So, yeah, we can do this. So we're looking at outer dissolving. The second form, inner dissolving, is when you actually talk about serious spiritual things or serious things in your unconscious mind. And that's the method that is used to resolve those. And we'll come to that later on in this training. So let's try this.
Okay.
Question first? Was that a question?
Just a question when you say going down and with the layers. So you mean if we're at, say, like the first layer of the body and bring the energy down, we're still bringing it down within the first layer. We're going to the next blockage that's lower in the body on that layer, but we're not going deeper into the body, like bringing it to layer 2 and finding the blockage.
Only if you realize that there are no other blockages at layer 1.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And there might not be any blockages at layer 2. You might not find another blockage until layer 10.
Okay.
And that's fine. But you want to be aware that at each layer you are feeling all the way around the body, because the blockage can appear. It can appear anywhere, literally. So we're going to just do a guided practice of this, and Joanne, it certainly can be done seated, but if you don't need to sit, then I prefer you stand.
Sure.
I think you'll prefer if you stand. And just take a moment to breathe, and we want the same structure, of course, that we use for anything else. And you could do this with eyes open or closed, but in the beginning, the recommendation is that you do it with the eyes closed, so that your attention is not pulled out to everything else in the room, but is actually purely about what is inside of you, so you don't distract yourself. And then beginning at the top of your head, the crown of your head, start just feeling down, go down a little ways, and just feel whatever you might feel. You might remember when you go down your body, you have to go to the front, side, and back of each layer. Remember what we said about layers. Just like you're slicing a salami, each slice is a distinct different layer. And as you do this, try to be aware of what you feel. You feel any strength, or a point of tension. Or something that doesn't feel quite right, especially if you don't know what it is. Or any type of contraction. And that becomes a blockage. So as you're going down, focus on a blockage if you have found one, or you could just say, for instance, that it's the space between your eyes, eyebrows, that has a blockage. And you try to get it to go ice to water, to relax. And if you feel any change at all, water to gas, letting it release into your etheric body. And if it succeeds, that's great. But for our practice, let's say it didn't. Then let your intuition tell you whether to go to the left or the right at this layer. And it doesn't make any difference which. And let your mind start going around your head until you feel another blockage. And then let the energy of that first blockage combine in the second. And again, ice to water. And water to gas. Now let's say you get a resolution. And then you would still go around your head until you arrive back to wherever that first blockage was. And more likely than not, you'll find that that blockage is gone. But if you do find that it's still there, you have to do the same thing all over again. But let's say it's resolved. And there are only two possibilities. You dissolve the blockage or you don't. But let's say you tried to go ice to water, water to gas, but no luck. You didn't dissolve the blockage so that you transfer it. And you keep going around your head and transfer it to any other blockage you find in your head. And then you try ice to water, water to gas again. And let's just say that after trying trying once or twice more, you get stymied. You can't release it. So you're right back where you started, between your eyebrows. Then let your mind start to go lower until you find the next blockage. And the energy that was in the first blockage, you let it go down and combine with wherever you have found another one. And again, ice to water. Water to gas. Release out to the boundary of the etheric body. And again, there are two possibilities. You're going to release it or you're not. And if you release it, no problem. Just go on around your head or wherever you are in your body, whatever layer you're on. And if there's anything else at this level, release that. But if there isn't, just go to the next blockage at a lower level and start the process all over again. But if you could not release that blockage, that combined energy of whatever was between your eyebrows and whatever was on down, combined with the next blockage lower, you keep looking for another place where you have strength or tension, something that doesn't feel quite right, especially if you don't know what it is, or any kind of contraction. And when you find another place, again you would combine and then dissolve. Ice to water, water to gas. And you'll end up with one thing at the end, either it resolved, or in which case you'll just go down to the next lateral place in your body, or it didn't, in which case you have to take the energy and bring it down to the next blockage you have in your body. So just relax and open your eyes. and recognize that I was taking you through that obviously a little more quickly than you probably would actually be able to do it.
Mhm.
But one other point about this is, if you're dissolving and you reach a stage where your intuition says, if I do this for 5 minutes or 500 hours, this blockage is not going to resolve. Just transfer that energy to the next place that feels blocked. Don't feel you have to tough it out for the rest of your natural life, because all the blockages in your body are all interlinked, and it may be something down around your knees that's actually going to release what that blockage is really about. So you do your best, and that's it. So this is basic dissolving. You go from the crown of your head, and you want to practice this, doing it all the way to the bottom of your feet until you can drop whatever energy you have into the ground to the boundary of your etheric body below your feet. And this can be done in two ways. If you're sitting, it's easier just to go to your lower dantian. But if you're standing, you want to go down all the way to the bottom of your feet. And that's the best way of going about it. So, questions? Thoughts? I might just say, for the time being, you really should just practice this um, as a separate practice. Eventually, we do it while we're doing God's. But
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't try to do that at the moment. Start with just beginning to experience dissolving. You're stunned, no questions.
Yeah,
Just a quick question, David. I remember, I'm quite sure from the Nagon classes, if I've gotten to, let's say, my neck level and I suddenly become aware of something up near the base, up from there, I still continue to dissolve downward through the feet and then start the process over again.
If you want to go back to that, yes, you do not go
Up,
stop and go
yeah.
up.
Right.
At
Okay.
this stage, you do not go up.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. Sure. Okay. Well, I'll let you play a little with that,
Yep.
and we'll progress on next week.
Okay.
okay.
Have a great week.
All right. And I'm gonna have to leave you and Adam now.
Okay. Well, we'll miss you. We'll see you next week.
You will see me next week.
Good.
Have a
Okay.
good week, everyone. Yep.
Care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a good, quick crash course / refresher on how to dissolve. There was a lot there.
There's a lot there, and it's intended as a crash course, because it's we're not interested in trying to teach you deep dissolving at this point. I mean, that's really another whole.
Yeah.
I mean, the current meditation class, which has been going for, I think, close to 4 years now, is still working on all of this stuff. And there's lots more. Just goes on and on.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
So
You know, I always, I guess, struggled with the water step of dissolving.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's pretty easy to feel blockages and identify the four conditions and then feel them as ice, but it always seems to dissolve right to gas.
Hmm.
I never kind of have a sense of it melting, but I guess still being in the body. It just seems to, if it dissolves, relax and dissipate out.
Well, I would have, you simply have gone beyond, I think, it sounds like to me, you've gone beyond the beginning stage where you have to try to be aware of those changes and have gone to the point where you're not going direct, you may think you're going
Mhm.
directly to
Right.
resolution, but you're actually going through both stages. It's just there's no pause there.
Yeah,
It's just a flow to
yeah,
it, and that's good.
okay.
So it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if, if am I rushing it or am I just like kind of looking for more than there needs to be? You know what I mean?
Do you feel that when you get a resolution like that it's complete?
Some blockages, yes, and other ones, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because many blockages have many levels,
Mm-hmm.
and actually learning to be aware. That's one of the things we've been working on in the meditation class recently, is really feeling the other points that are connected to a main blockage, and they are often very, very subtle. And now we're working on using the energy of the conscious mind to release those. So it's yeah, but we talk about it that way. We also talk about it in terms of being aware of the energy that's behind the energy of a blockage, behind that energy, and behind that energy, and behind that energy.
Yeah, I mean the ones that are difficult to dissolve or that feel stuck and
Mm-hmm.
no amount of time seems to feel like it'll help.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how it feels like. It feels like, on the surface maybe you can get some release, but there is something deeper that continues to cause the energy on the level you're working to stay stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're trying to dissolve the energy on the surface, but underneath it is like an ice box that keeps freezing up the energy. And unless you go deeper, you're gonna just keep dissolving, but not really taking care of the problem.
Yeah.
And it just feels like you can kind of just keep going. And like,
yeah. So you're not even resolving the surface.
Right. Yeah.
So that's indeed when you, in effect, you haven't released that blockage at all.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can connect it, if you can combine that energy, that blockage to another one, that can help to release it sometimes. But you have to find where is the connection that does that. Because as I just said, maybe you have a blockage here, but the real release is going to come here. And finding that connection may take many repetitions.
Yeah.
It's just, it isn't quick and easy,
No.
but it's very effective in the long run.
Yeah.
But the nice thing in having this meditation class go on this link is that I'm able to go to a much deeper level of practice than I do in the basic two-year course. So can teach some other methods. So how's your form?
It's okay.
Probably had no time to practice.
No, not much. Not much. Never enough time, dude.
Yeah.
But the little bits it did feel good. Going slow is still a challenge, as is connecting with fascia consistently.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of comes in waves and jumps around. I think in terms of like where you connect with it in the body.
Yep.
So.
Well, just
it's part. Yeah, it's I don't think there's much to say about it. It's just part of
no. I think that's
the practice and doing it and the learning experience.
Yeah. Good.
So.
Good. Okay. Well, I don't have any other.
I guess I gotta go to work that day.
Oh no! Oh no!
So come up with something.
I can come up with something if you don't want to go to work.
I gotta get down to New Haven. It's alright. It's alright.
How are things?
They're good. They're good. I got most of my holiday shopping done online over the weekend, which is good to just kind of have it out of the way.
Oh yeah.
We had a good Thanksgiving at parents' house.
Good. That's nice.
My mom's side of the family was there. I don't see them too much, so
yeah,
it was nice to see all of them. That's about it.
Yeah.
For updates.
Yeah.
Not much. Still looking for a roommate. A couple leads, but
yeah.
we'll see. No one too promising.
When our tenant first said he was going to go to Florida, we had 3 or 4 really good prospects. And then he said he was going to stay. So we told them, sorry.
Oh.
And now
He's going?
Well, he hasn't paid his rent for a month, so he's going.
Yeah. Tough time of the year. I don't think a lot of people are looking to move.
That's the.
I think the time to get people is the end of summer.
Yep.
I think a lot of people look to move, but a lot of people want to be hunkered down for the winter. So.
I'm not looking forward to trying to find somebody now. But.
Yeah. I think I might try a website called Furnished Finder. You have to have a furnished room.
Mm.
But my old roommate left his furniture. He stashed it in the basement. He said, why don't I just give you the $100 instead of the store, one of the storage facilities? I said, all right. And he said, I'd like to get rid of it. If you find someone looking for a furnished place and you just want to rent it as furnished, that's okay. We can kind of come up with whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like just buy it from you, whatever. So I might try that because it appeals to really healthcare workers. Furnished Finder, it's a website for people who are doing temporary work in an area who just want a furnished room, like nothing complicated. They don't want to bring anything,
Yeah.
And looking for kind of like less of like a lease, more like that 6-week, 8-week rental.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you were, wanted to do an Airbnb, but maybe for a couple months.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it costs money to post on the website. It's $100 for a year as a landlord type of thing. So I might give it a try, see
Yeah.
see what's out there. Because in theory, anyone on that website would be, you know, like a travel nurse, a travel doctor. You know, hopefully someone like that has income and yeah. So
Yeah, that sounds like it might work.
so I figured, you know, for the $100 that he's gonna pay me to store the beds and everything, anyways, might as well sign up for a year and see if I get any leads.
Yeah.
I can let you know if that works out. But
Oh, we aren't going to do that.
Yeah. But it's a pain. It's tough being a landlord, right?
Oh, it is sometimes.
So. Alright. Do you mind if I just hit the head before hitting the roof? It's a long ride.
Go to it.
Alright. Good seeing you, David.
Good seeing you.